Can you give an overview of injuries and what a starting 22 is likely to be week 1? Man, I wish. I wish. Most years there would be 4 preseason games, and every NFL team would have to give an honest injury report before the first preseason game. So heading into week 1 of the regular season, you really know who's injured, who's not, and the extent of each injury on both teams. This year, no preseason games, no injury report until next Wednesday, so teams can just lie or not say. And that's what the Niners have been doing, and I think they've started doing it. They used to be really transparent. I think they started doing it because the Cardinals are doing it too. And they're looking, they see Kenyon Drake's in a walking boot. DeAndre Hopkins isn't practicing, and that team's like, well, no big deal. We'll see if they play. They probably will play. So I think the Niners are saying, well, if we can't figure out who we're going to face week 1, I don't want them to know. So I'll guess. This is a guess based on no intel, just watching practice and having a brain. Okay. Quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. Will Kyle Juszczyk be healthy week 1? I'm thinking, yeah, based on nothing. So Kyle Juszczyk at fullback. Raheem Mostert, I think Raheem Mostert is going to start week 1. As much of a troll as Kyle Shanahan is, and I think he is in a good way, and would love to start Tevin Coleman just because everyone's told him he can't anymore. I think at least for one game, I keep going back and forth actually. Today, I think Raheem Mostert's going to start. Tomorrow, I think Tevin Coleman's going to start. But today, I think Raheem Mostert's going to start. Then at left tackle, Trent Williams. Left guard, Laken Tomlinson. Right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. Right guard, I think it's going to be Tom Compton at first. Not because he played well at camp, but I think Kyle's trying to not overreact to the camp performance and go with the guy who has experience and multiple starts at that position in his career. So it'll be Compton at right guard. Probably he'll have to lose that job, but he might lose it quick. Compton at first, and then I'm guessing Ben Garland will be healthy enough to start at center week 1 because he's missed all of training camp with an ankle injury. The Niners have had ample time to add a new center who could start. Instead, they've made Daniel Brunskill the starting center throughout camp, and he hasn't been good at it. They've seen it. I mean, he has an issue just snapping the ball. So if they thought he actually had to start week 1, I'm sure they'd get someone else. I'm guessing they'd get someone else. So Garland at center, week 1, with Richburg coming back, week 6, week 7, week 8. Compton at right guard. Starting wide receivers, I'm guessing they'll be Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I think the 49ers look at this game as not a must-win game, but a game that's close to it. It's a divisional opponent. The Cardinals are the team I think that every NFC West team is scared about. I think every NFC West team thinks the Cardinals eventually could take over the division and be the first place team by next year, and if not this year. So it would be bad for the Niners to lose that game week 1 and give the Cardinals that type of confidence, that mental edge. So if Deebo Samuel can play, I think he will. If Brandon Ayuk can play, I think he will. If neither one can, then the starters should be Kendrick Bourne and Dante Pettis. Starting tight end should be George Kittle, unless they're just totally lying. They say he should come back and practice later this week. I believe them. And then what's interesting, when they go to like third down, they usually take out Juszczyk and bring in Trent Taylor. Will they do that, or will they take out Juszczyk and bring in Jordan Reed? Because what I see from the way they're using Jordan Reed is they're using him as a slot receiver. He's not doing a lot of blocking, but as a slot receiver, he's much more accomplished than Trent Taylor. You can use them both, but I'm thinking Jordan Reed's going to get a lot of playing time as technically a slot receiver. Am I missing anyone on offense? Defense. Is Nick Bosa going to be healthy week 1? Let's say he is. Let's assume Nick Bosa and Dee Ford are healthy week 1. Dee Ford, I don't think will start. I think Eric Armstead will start at one DN. Nick Bosa will start at the other. DJ Jones will be the 2-eye nose tackle, and Javon Kinlaw will start at 3 technique, even though he'll play probably less than 50% of the snaps, come off the field a lot on second and long and third down, and get replaced by Solomon Thomas, Kevin Givens, Dee Ford, things like that. That's the D-line. Linebackers, assuming Fred Warner's healthy week 1, him in the middle, Quan Alexander at week, Drake, Greenlaw at strong, and then in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, Jimmy Ward, Jaquaski Tart, Richard Sherman, and Emmanuel Mosley. That's my best guess. We'll see. Who will be the punt returner against Arizona? I think it's going to be Dante Pettis or Trent Taylor. The last two practices, the second to last training camp practice I was at was basically a scrimmage in Levi Stadium, and the person who had the first crack at returning punts was Pettis. What'd he do? Fumbled one. Let the ball hit him in the chest plate. Fumble. He got two more cracks at it and caught him, but you can't have like a 667 catch percentage as a punt returner. Not good enough. And if you listen to Kyle Shanahan, they asked him early in camp, why does Dante Pettis not return punts? And he said, well, it's not always about who can make the biggest plays at punt returner. It's also about who can catch the ball most consistently. And I think they've decided that for whatever reason, even though Dante Pettis was a record-breaking punt returner in college, he is physically, I don't know, I'm guessing they think he's physically intimidated by the prospect of returning punts in the NFL. And so just catching the ball is not a guarantee for him. So I don't think he's going to make it as a punt returner. I think they like Trent Taylor, not because Trent Taylor is dynamic with the ball in his hands or a threat to take it to the house, because he's not. He's just automatic catching the ball. He's what you would call a fair catch machine. And from listening to Kyle Shanahan, he likes that. He wants that. So I'm guessing Trent Taylor will be the punt returner for his fair catch prowess. And the kick returner, I'm guessing, will be Jerick McKinnon. It should be Brandon Ayuk because the punt returner and the kick returner should be Brandon Ayuk. A lot of teams, if they had a player like that, they'd be looking for as many ways as possible to get him the ball. And Ayuk was a returner in college. But Shanahan seems to feel like if he has big plans for a guy on offense, he's not going to make him a returner one way or another. And I just disagree with him on that. I mean, how many kick returns are there a game? 1, 2? How often do you see a kick returner get hurt? Richie James Jr. didn't get hurt last year. But it's going to be McKinnon, Trent Taylor, with Dante Pettis lingering, and me in the background being like, hey, Carl, what about Brandon Ayuk? Hey, what do you think about Brandon Ayuk? So I'll do my part.